Hi everyone, welcome to a rainy Sunday at Riley's Garden. We have some Bok Choy again to pick this week. I'm going to try to get one more week out of this Bok Choy, and I think the other Bok Choy in my garden will be ready to harvest at that time. So if you look closely, and I'll try to zoom in, you can see we've probably harvested these bok choys 6 or 7 times already. They are my go-to green in the fall because they are cut and come again, and I can just harvest them over and over and over, and they're delicious. Also got some kohlrabi over here, and the reason we're doing this in the rain today is I really need to get these seedlings planted out. And you can see, I hope, I'll bring you in, but what I have going on here is the cotyledons on these seedlings, on some of them, starting to turn yellow. You can see it on this bok choy here. You can see it a little bit on the spinach here. I can see it on the kohlrabi, on the Turek kohlrabi. Means that the plants have used up all the nutrients in these little starter trays, and they're starting to cannibalize themselves to feed themselves. So I really need to get them in the ground today. So when you see the yellowing cotyledons, it means that your plant has run out of nutrients in the container that you have it in, and you need either to feed that plant or you need to transplant it into a medium with food in it so the plant can feed itself. Lesson 1, and the only lesson for today, I think. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take out, well, I was going to take out the kohlrabi. Well, maybe what we'll do is we'll go ahead and plant some kohlrabi out first. And we'll go ahead and plant Turek. So this is kohlrabi, this purplish kohlrabi I have here, and the white kohlrabi that I grow, Turek, we're going to put right in here. We're going to use my PVC dibber because I misplaced my wooden dibber. I didn't misplace it. I know exactly where it went. It's at the landfill, which I can't get back, and I haven't made myself a new one yet out of wood. So I had this extra PVC material lying around, and I made it out of that. 6 inches apart, 6 to 8 inches apart, and great thing about this, you just drop these right in these holes. If you guys have not switched over to these hardened plastic 6-cell seed starts, I highly recommend them. The other really thin material that I think we all started with when we started gardening, at least in the last 20 years, they tear so easily, and they're so easily damaged because they're like 1/10 of a millimeter thick. These hardened plastic ones are a good millimeter thick, or at least 3/4 of a millimeter, I guess. But they're going to last forever. So if you haven't switched over, it's worth the investment, in my opinion. But they can be quite pricey, especially, now in the last couple of years, prices on everything have gone up. So those kohlrabi are in. It's so rainy today, I'm not going to be worrying about watering anything. I will come back after they have taken root, make sure they don't have any transplant shock, and I'll come in and I'll thin them out, because obviously there's a lot of plants. Dropped 4 seeds into that one here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll have to come back and thin those out. Not a big deal. What else do we have here? In behind here, this weed, I have no idea what it is, but it is taking over this bed. And we'll get some of this weed out. There we go. All right, let's, in behind here, we are going to do more kohlrabi in behind here. So let me do more of the Tarek. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. Love, love, love this weather this time of year in South Texas. I love it. It's early, low 60s today, a little bit drizzly with rain, but it's so cool and it's so nice when you spend, I guess it's like living up north and you stay inside for 2 or 3 months, or you try not to go outside as much as possible because it's so cold out. The opposite is true here. When it is so hot for 3 or 4 months in a row, and especially this year, it was just obscenely hot. June, July, August, September, even going into October. It's November 26th today, and it just feels glorious to be this cool right now. I know there must be some fellow South Texas gardeners out there that feel exactly the same way that I do about this weather. I'm going to go ahead and I only could do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in front, 5 in back, and I have 6 cell seed trays, so I consolidated to 1. I have 2 plants left over. I'm not sure if I'm going to find anything to do with these or not. Next step today, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to harvest this kohlrabi. Really hard to get out. We had this just the other night. We did some baked ham, smoked ham rather, and kohlrabi baked in the oven at 400 degrees for 15 or 20 minutes, and then I broiled them for another 15 minutes. You know, I peeled and chopped these up first, but the taste is so good. They've got a lot of water content in them if you've never had them before, and it concentrates the sweetness of these vegetables. Absolutely love them. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more to harvest, and then we're going to plant out the rest of these. I'm going to go ahead and shift over here, do a different camera angle. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, let's move everything over. Make some room for these seed starts. We'll put those here. All right, so kohlrabi harvest. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Mine was very low-key. In fact, I had to work during the day, so we came home that night and had a very low-key night, and then we had our big meal the next day that I was working from home on the U.S. side of the border. Here comes one of my animals. Jolie is out. We have planted this year in the garden all kinds of sugar snap peas, which is this dog's absolute favorite vegetable, right? Sugar snap peas. I don't know how you can see anything with your hair like that. So funny. Another beautiful kohlrabi. Put that in there. So yeah, Thanksgiving was good. I normally travel for Christmas, or I did before the pandemic, and I did last year. But this year, it looks like we will be staying put. I am going to be working a lot more. The automotive strike meant that I used up some of my holidays that I would have rather not used up. But it is what it is, so we will be sticking around and going to be doing some camping around Christmas time, which is going to be cool. I haven't done that yet here in Texas since I moved here. So, well, not in the area that I'm going. I've done the beaches and stuff. So, moving right along, need to figure out what is going to get planted in here. And this whole bed needs a huge dose of new mulch on top to smother all of these weeds out, which it will get in the springtime. But let's get these next couple of kohlrabis out so we can transplant. We've got bok choy, spinach, beets. Beets I think I have another home for in another bed in my garden. Last week I didn't get on camera, but we planted out more mini broccoli. This time it's a burgundy that I have never grown before. I'm really excited about harvesting that. Burgundy mini broccoli. If anybody out there has grown that, let me know if you've got any tips and tricks, because I never have, and I am relying on the website at Johnny's Seeds, where I got seeds from, and we'll see how that comes out. Another beautiful kohlrabi. My helper dog has left me. All right, got one more. Let's twist this out. We'll twist this out. We'll get some of these weeds out, and then we'll start transplanting. I love my dibber when I'm putting in seed starts. It makes life so easy to punch that hole in the soil and then use, just drop those seed starts right in. Makes it so easy. Get a couple of these weeds out of here first before we get started. Pull them up from get the whole root out of there. And I really don't care if they grow in my yard. I was thinking about putting in more beds this year, and that I have a fine line between how many beds I can put in and productively garden them, because every time I put in a bed, that's less space that I'm gonna have grass growing. And the grass is the main ingredient in my compost here in my little backyard ecosystem. Now, that's not to say that I couldn't go to my neighbors and collect the grass clippings from other people, but I'm just not sure I'm ready to do that. And we get so much food already from the garden beds that we have. Okay, dibber time. Here's what I was talking about, how easy it is. We are going to put, let's see what we're going to do. We're going to put beets in the back. We are going to put bok choy in front of those beets, and then we're going to put spinach in front of that bok choy. So we are going to put beets in the back here. We are going to put bok choy in front of those, and then we are going to put spinach in front of that. Okay, but you guys are right in my way. So let's start with beets back here. Uno, dos, oops. I'm going to go a little closer. 2, 3. 3 inches apart here. There we go. I have more than these 6 beets here. So what I was talking about, why I love dibbers, just drop it in, plop. One of my more successful videos is about when to transplant tomato seedlings and how to transplant tomato seedlings. And in that video, I use a dibber in order to transplant into a 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch container. And I've always had just excellent results with my tomatoes that way. And I got a ton of pushback in the comment section. And people are very passionate about this. Even they saw that I had 4-week-old tomato transplants there, and they could see how healthy they were, and they were planted with this method. They absolutely, some of the people that watched that video would not believe that. Just adamant that I had staged the whole thing, and there's no way that I could get my plants to grow that way if I used a dibber to transplant. I was just shocked. The internet will never cease to amaze me. or some of the people in the internet world will never cease to amaze me. All right, we've got our beets in here. They're multi-sown a la Charles Dowding. If you guys haven't seen his videos, if you're a gardener, I hope you have. If you haven't, check out Charles Dowding. Basically the father of modern no-dig farming. What an amazingly talented man, gardener. If you haven't seen it, check out his video. You'll learn a lot from him. So we're going to do Bok Choy next. I'm going to just roll Bok Choy here. 1, 2. Plant spacing. I used to be, when I first started gardening, I don't know, I used to get out the tape measures and I was worrying about my plant spacing. And the more you garden, the more you have a feel for this stuff. And yeah, we're going to plant it that far apart, and it doesn't work, and it will go in our journal. Speaking of that, journals, so much easier now with the technology, just to pull out your phone, pull up your notes app, or take a picture, or add a picture to your social media account if you're on Instagram or Threads or something. I guess they're the same thing, I'm not sure. Anyway, to make a note on what has worked and what hasn't worked in your garden right when it happens. If I tell myself, oh yeah, I'm going to remember that, and I'm going to write that down later, I never do. I never do. But if you've got your phone with you and you can take a picture then and there in the moment, put a note with that picture, you always have it. So, all right, we got the Bok Choy in. I did, I guess, a little... No, I got 1 left, and I've got 1 Bok Choy left. Perfect. Perfect, Riley. What was I saying about you get a feel for these things? That was total luck. All right, we're going to do some spinach in front. Then I'm going to be done for the afternoon. And I think I'll go get a hot drink. It's a good day for hot apple cider here in South Texas, this weather. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And let's drop in some spinach, some space. Cut and come again spinach. Drop that right in there. Going to be, I hope, a wonderful fall gardening season here, South Texas. The one big risk is the freezes. Some years we don't get any freeze at all, and then there are some years where we can get freezes for consecutive days, which can do a lot of damage in my garden. But that's it. We've got almost all of the seed starts planted. I've got a few beets left and some kohlrabi left. Kohlrabi, I've got space over there. I'll probably do that next. I hope that if you're still gardening, you're having great weather and you're able to get out in the garden today. I hope that if your gardening season's over, you have a great start to the next year's season. Thank you for watching. It's Riley's Garden. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you on the channel.